From Vermont Public, this is The Frequency. I'm Mitch Wertlieb. It's Wednesday, March 12th, and here are today's headlines. The U.S. Department of Education Monday sent letters to 60 universities, including Middlebury College, warning of, quote, enforcement actions. That's if the universities fail to protect Jewish students on campus. All of the colleges, including Middlebury, are currently under investigation for alleged violations of the Civil Rights Act. The law prohibits discrimination based on race, color, or national origin at institutions that receive federal funding. Last year, the group Stand With Us Center for Legal Justice filed a complaint against Middlebury, alleging it created a, quote, hostile anti-Semitic campus climate after a series of incidents following the October 7, 2023 Hamas attack against Israel. In a statement, a spokesperson for Middlebury said the college is fully cooperating with federal investigators and is committed to supporting all students. In other education news, the tiny Ripton Elementary School will be even smaller next year after a last-ditch effort to keep its kindergarten and first-grade class failed last week. Those students will be sent to the Salisbury Community School instead. Jamie McCallum is a member of the Addison Central School District School Board, which met Monday night. He said he was concerned about the long-term viability of the school if its remaining classes shrink any further.
It feels like, to me, there's momentum toward a spiral where the school becomes unviable. Like it feels like we're heading toward a situation where there's a crisis.
Even if next year's remaining classes stay intact, under-enrollment is expected to rear its head again in 2 classes the following school year. State revenues remain strong, but the Scott administration says it's very difficult to predict how the economic future will unfold because of volatility in Washington. The state's latest revenue report shows continued growth in Vermont's general fund. In January, overall revenues were 12% higher than expected, thanks to a strong performance by the personal income tax. Adam Gresham is the state's budget commissioner. He says Vermont's financial future could be significantly impacted by the tariff policies and budget cuts of the Trump administration.
Right now, it's so difficult to keep up with all the different headlines, often that are contradictory. So you can't make changes until you know for sure what is happening.
Gresham says the Scott administration is conveying its concerns to the state's congressional delegation. Vermont lawmakers created the Public Safety Communications Task Force 2 years ago to take a hard look at the state's dispatch calling system. Public Safety Commissioner Jennifer Morrison says the group is suggesting major changes to how emergency dispatch calls are routed.
Every time a call is transferred from a 911 call taker to another center, that is a possible potential failure point.
The report suggests reducing the number of call centers from 37 to 6. The department is asking the public to weigh in before issuing a final report with recommendations to the legislature later this year. And the Department of Public Safety has named the state's first-ever animal welfare director. Lisa Milet has been tapped to lead the new division of animal welfare. Since 2007, Milet has been a faculty member at Georgia Law School focusing on animal welfare policy. Milet will work to enforce the state's animal welfare laws starting this May. And coming up, Copley Hospital in Morrisville is short on cash, and board members say they'll decide in the next few months whether to shutter its birthing center. Area healthcare providers want to keep it open, arguing families will have trouble accessing prenatal care if it closes. Vermont Public's Lexi Krupp has details on the dilemma after this.
Thanks for listening to The Frequency, where support comes from VITA, supporting business growth and innovation in the Green Mountain State. From agriculture to manufacturing, energy to food production, find solutions that turn your business dreams into reality. Visit VEDA.org and see how VITA can help make it happen.
In the next few months, the board at Copley Hospital will vote on whether or not to close the birthing center at the small community hospital in Morrisville. Vermont Public's Lexi Krupp has more on the choice before them.
Marge Kelso worked on and off at Copley Hospital for almost 50 years.
I delivered babies that I then delivered those babies.
The next closest hospital is 45 minutes away, so many of our patients are from nearby. But some have gone out of their way to deliver there, like second homeowners who come to town at the end of their pregnancies.
I've had people cross the border from Canada to come to Copley to have their babies. We've had people from New Hampshire who've come up to have their babies with us.
One thing that makes Copley special is It's one of only 3 hospitals in the state where midwives are the attendants for most births, rather than physicians. That's been shown to save the healthcare system money, and it's what Kelso did for much of her career. She retired a few years ago. And since then, the hospital has been in rough financial shape. They lost money for several years in a row and have been short on cash. So recently, there's been a suggestion among hospital leaders to close the labor and delivery service.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. I hope the roads weren't too slippery for you.
I spoke with Barbara Walls, the hospital spokesperson, and Joe Wooden, Copley's president, about that prospect.
Financial distress changes everything. And so that's why we look at services, and that's why the birthing center is being looked at.
Wooden has been around a lot of rural hospitals.
Having worked at 6 hospitals, been a CEO of 4, I really do understand this. I understand how difficult and sensitive this is, but hard decisions sometimes need to be made to make us healthy and to move forward.
The birthing center is not a moneymaker for the hospital. He estimates it loses $3 to $5 million a year, though the hospital did not provide details behind that figure. And a big concern he has is about the number of babies delivered here. It's pretty small, a little under 200 births a year, and those numbers have been declining. That's the case for several hospitals in the state, including in Randolph, Newport, and St. Johnsbury. And at many rural hospitals across the country, births are much lower. Even still,
I'm concerned about volume as it relates to quality and competency and cost.
But the quality of care that Copley provides is excellent. We have excellent providers.
An outside report commissioned by the state recommended that Copley shift or grow its birthing center in the long term based on population trends in Vermont. The report suggested other immediate changes to make the hospital more efficient, but it did not recommend closing the birthing center anytime soon. And this year, Copley is projected to be profitable. They're on track to bring in over $110 million in revenue and several million in profit. I asked Wooden about this.
I'm imagining that is under the assumption that the birthing center is, still part of the hospital.
It's currently in the budget, yes. We haven't put together FY26 yet.
So
these are just really difficult discussions as to what services we provide and how we provide them and what can we afford.
Those discussions have been especially difficult for some of the providers at the hospital, like Kit Bovey. We talked along a trail in Morrisville.
It feels terrible. It feels like what you do isn't valued and that money is the only driving factor.
Bovey has been a midwife at Copley for the past 13 years. During that time, the hospital has had one of the lowest C-section rates in the state. She says there haven't been any major complications like strokes or deaths or having to remove someone's uterus because of severe bleeding.
We have really good outcomes. We're providing great care. We're having good neonatal outcomes. We have great support from UVM when we need it.
Since Bovey first heard about the potential of losing the birthing center, she's been trying to stop it because the stakes feel really high. In other rural communities where labor and delivery units have closed, there are more emergency room and premature births, a leading cause of infant mortality. That's according to a study of closures at over 100 hospitals in the U.S. Staff at the hospital have been trying to spread the word that this service could go away. The nurses' union ran several ads in the local paper, and a petition started last month has garnered over 1,500 signatures. But that effort has taken a toll.
It's that hard thing of you're busy doing the work and you're carving out time to fight to keep doing your work. It's a lot.
The hospital has said they expect the board to vote on the future of the birthing center after May. The board president did not respond to a request for an interview. For Vermont Public, I'm Lexi Krupp.
Thanks Thanks for listening to The Frequency today. We had additional reporting from Brittany Patterson, Sabine Pooks, Bob Kinzel, Howard Weiss-Tisman, and Jen Jarecki. Our executive producer is Kevin Trevelyan, and our music is by Blue Dot Sessions. I'm Mitch Wertlieb. Talk to you tomorrow.
Each morning, it's a new opportunity, a chance to start fresh. Up First from NPR makes each morning an opportunity to learn and to understand. Choose to join the world every morning with Up First, a podcast that hands you everything going on across the globe and down the street, all in 15 minutes or less. Start your day informed and anew with Up First by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts.